3 a.m. At the Villisca Axe Murder House. Put your palm against the wall. Feel it sweat. That's not humidity. That's hunger. The house doesn't scream. It breathes. And once you know the address, it already knows your name. So answer me this. What have you given your family that they never asked for? Two sisters. Iowa. Late 1990s. Sarah was the older one. Married well. A farmhouse with a wraparound porch. A husband whose family owned half the county. No children yet, but everyone said she deserved them. Bethany was the younger. Married a mechanic named Paul. 2 boys in 2 years. Shoes every 4 months. Double shifts. She never complained out loud. But at night, alone with her thoughts, Bethany felt something she couldn't name. Not hatred. Worse. A small, hard seed of wanting. Not for money. For place. For the certainty that when people spoke of the Harlow girls, they remembered Sarah first. In 1998, Sarah became pregnant. The family celebrated. Daniel's mother cried. Daniel's father shook his hand for 11 seconds. And Bethany smiled, held her sister's hand, said all the right words. That night, Bethany drove home with her 2 boys asleep in the back seat. She didn't turn on the radio. She drove in silence. And by the time she reached her gravel driveway, that small hard seed had grown roots. She decided something in that car. She would not let Sarah have this child. Not because she hated her sister. Because she had already decided that her son would inherit what Sarah had. And there was only one way to make that happen. You know the Villisca Axe Murder House by reputation. June 10, 1912. 8 people killed in their sleep. The Moore family, Joe and Sarah, their 4 children. 2 overnight guests. The killer used the family's own axe. Left it in the basement. Walked out into the dawn. Never caught. Dozens of teams have investigated since. Every single one reported the same things. Children's voices in empty rooms. Footsteps on stairs no one climbs. The smell of blood that comes and goes like weather. And in the master bedroom, a presence that does not move. That simply waits. Here is what most people do not know. The house is not only haunted. It is hungry. It has been hungry for 90 years. And it has learned to wait for invitations. Bethany found the house through a man who knew a man. An occultist named Gerald Trimble. He claimed to have performed cleansings at Villisca in the 1980s. He was not a priest, not a scholar. He was a man who learned that fear is a currency, and desperate people pay the highest rates. Bethany drove 3 hours to meet him. She told him everything. Trimble listened. Then he said, "I can't curse your sister, but I can introduce her to something that will." He gave her a small glass vial. Inside gray dust. From the master bedroom floor. The room where the Moore parents died. Mix this into food. Any food. When she eats it, the echo will attach to her. Not to her body. To her bloodline. Bethany asked, "Will her baby die?" Trimble smiled. "The baby will not die. The baby will be replaced." She paid him $300. She drove home with the vial in her purse. And 3 days later, she drove to Sarah's farmhouse with a plate of white cookies. Sarah was in the kitchen, hand on her belly, 6 months along, tired, happy, Bethany hugged her, kissed her cheek, set the plate on the counter. "Eat," she said. "You're eating for two now." Sarah laughed, took a cookie, took another. Bethany watched. And as Sarah swallowed the second bite, Bethany said 3 words. "See what follows." Sarah paused. "What?" Bethany smiled. "Nothing. Just a prayer I heard somewhere." Then a floorboard creaked in the hallway. Neither sister was standing there. Sarah looked toward the sound. Bethany looked at the window. And for less than a second, Bethany saw a reflection in the glass. Not her own face. A man's face. Narrow. Jawless. With eyes that did not blink. Then it was gone. Bethany left an hour later. She told herself it had worked. She told herself she had done what needed to be done. But on the drive home, she noticed something strange. Her rearview mirror showed only blackness. No headlights. No sky. Just a perfect flat dark, as if something was sitting in her back seat, breathing against her neck. She did not turn around. She drove faster. Sarah gave birth to a daughter in January 1999. They named her Grace. Grace was a quiet baby. Too quiet. She did not cry for milk. She did not cry at all. She simply stared. Her eyes followed things no one else could see. And when Sarah held her, the baby's skin was cold. Not cool. Cold. As if her blood moved too slowly. By age 3, Grace began speaking in complete sentences. Sentences no child should know. The man with the flat face says you borrowed something. He wants to know when you'll give it back. Doctors. Psychologists. Nothing wrong. One doctor suggested imaginative coping mechanisms. No one suggested the truth. At age 5, kindergarten. A boy reached for a crayon. Grace took his arm. Bit down. Would not let go. Even when adults pried her jaw open, her teeth stayed locked. Her eyes during that attack were not her own. They were older. They were male. And they were laughing. At age 7, Grace began sleepwalking. Every night. Always to the same place, the front door. She would stand there, facing the wood, and whisper the same 3 words over and over. See what follows. See what follows. See what follows. Sarah tried to wake her. Grace would not wake. Her eyes would open, white and rolling, and her mouth would move. But the voice that came out was not a child's voice. It was a man's voice. Flat. Cheerless. Familiar. She opened the door. I only walked through. By the time Grace was 9, Sarah had aged 20 years. Gray hair. Crumbling marriage. Daniel had moved to the guest bedroom. He never said it aloud, but she knew what he thought. The child is wrong. The child is not ours. Then Bethany came back. Not to help. To confess. She drove to the farmhouse on a Tuesday afternoon. Sat at the same kitchen table. And told everything. The vial. The powder. The 3 words. Trimble. Villisca. Sarah did not scream. Did not cry. She sat very still. And when Bethany finished, Sarah said only one thing. Where is he now? Gerald Trimble lived in a trailer park outside Council Bluffs. 73 years old. Poor health. Worse memory. But he remembered Bethany. She came to me. Wanted to curse her own blood. I told her it would cost more than money. She didn't ask what I meant. Sarah stood in his doorway. Behind her, 2 county sheriffs waited in their car. "Undo it," she said. Trimble laughed. The laugh became a cough. A wet, rattling thing that went on too long. "You can't undo an invitation. The house doesn't give back what it takes." I told her that. She didn't listen. "What took my daughter?" Trimble looked at her. And for a moment, something passed across his face. Not regret. Recognition. "You ever read about the Villisca murders? They never found who did it. Because it wasn't a who. It was a what. And it's been looking for a way out of that house for 90 years. Your sister didn't just curse you. She gave it a door. Your daughter is the door." Sarah found a priest. Father Michael Coyle. He served in the Chicago Archdiocese's rare office of exorcism. Bald. Soft-spoken. Carried a briefcase he never left unattended. He came to the farmhouse. Met Grace. Spoke to her alone for 40 minutes. When he emerged, he was pale. The thing inside her is not a demon. It is a resident. It lived in that house so long it forgot it was ever separate from the walls. Now it has a body. And it will not leave willingly. The rite took 7 hours. Holy water. The litany of the saints. The name of Jesus spoken not as a weapon, but as a lock. Grace convulsed. She spoke in a voice that was not hers. She coughed up dust. Gray dust. The same color as the powder from the Villisca floor. At the end, Father Coyle placed a relic against her forehead. A splinter from a cross. He said, "In the name of the one who walked out of the tomb, I command you. Return to the place of bone and breath. Return to the house that has no door. Do not follow this child any further." Grace went limp. The lights flickered. And from every corner of the farmhouse, a single sound emerged. Not a scream. Not a whisper. A cough. Wet. Lasting. Familiar. Then silence. Grace survived. But she was not healed. She remembers nothing between ages 3 and 9. Nothing of the voice. Nothing of the flat-faced man. Her memories begin the morning after the exorcism, with her mother holding her hand and crying. But sometimes, late at night, she wakes up standing in front of her bedroom door. She does not remember walking there. And her mouth tastes like dust. Bethany moved away. No one knows where. Her husband divorced her. Her sons do not speak her name. Sarah and Daniel divorced as well. The farmhouse sold. Grace lives with her mother in a small apartment in Des Moines. She is 25 now. A nurse. She does not believe in ghosts. But she has never once visited Villisca, Iowa. And she never will. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murder House, and the 2 sisters who learned that some doors should never be opened. Not for love. Not for jealousy. Not for the desperate hope that blood will protect you from blood. The most profound evil does not announce itself with screams. It arrives in a cookie. A vial of dust. 3 words spoken in a kitchen where a floorboard creaks without being touched. Bethany wanted her son to inherit a better life. Instead, she gave her niece a passenger that took 9 years to remove. And the thing that rode Grace back from Villisca? It is not gone. It is simply waiting. Because the house still stands. And the echo still breathes. So listen. If you ever visit Villisca, do not take anything from the floor. Do not say any words you do not understand. And if you ever hear a child whisper, "See what follows," run. because something will, and it already knows your name. Good night.